Good afternoon or morning, whatever it is. I think it's on the verge. Welcome to this channel. I thought I would do a video today on the coming solar eclipse. I was talking to a friend about it, and they asked me what my take was on the solar eclipse that's coming up on the 8th of this month. And there seems to be a lot of, let's say, information or rumor or innuendo or maybe all of those things about what this means. Is it a portent of some type of catastrophic event coming up? Is there, I heard that there's states of emergency being declared in several states just because, for whatever reason they come up with, too many people congregating in one place to watch it or whatever. It all seems rather absurd to me. But coming from from the heart, from a shamanistic point of view, or let's just say from a spiritual point of view, I have some thoughts on it, and these are the thoughts. Now you have the sun, okay, which in Hindu mythology is Indra, or the giver of life. In fact, a lot of mythologies or a lot of belief systems, even the Native American has a strong place in their heart for the sun, and that's always been in evidence if you look back in history, or even, let's say, pagan beliefs, nature worship, all of that stuff. There's always an indication that the sun is the giver of life, that the sun brings us life, brings us goodness, brings us an awareness, maybe even, and it is one of the spirits of the four directions. And in Hindu mythology, it would be Indra, and in Native American, it would be the East, or Ki, in Lakota. And so that's something that should be considered in this whole mix. Now, let's add the moon to that, because the moon is coming in between the sun and the earth. Now, when this happens, when the eclipse happens, the sun and its force is, in effect, for this planet, being blocked out for a few minutes, a few seconds, or whatever the duration of it is. Might be 4 minutes. I think it's 4 minutes, I read somewhere. So during this phase, you have the yin and yang, or the dark and light aspect, coming into play. And when the sun is eclipsed, okay, or when the moon comes in between the sun and the earth, the planet Earth, you have yang going into yin. In other words, the yang is being blocked or overwhelmed by the yin for 4 minutes, okay? And so, on a planetary level, there could be all kinds of things going on as far as cycles go. We always got to take cycles into effect, because everything is cyclical planetarily. So you take that into consideration, and you also take other things into consideration, all right? But so from the point of view of just observation and maybe a hermetic point of view, or let's say even a hermetic point of view would work, or Taoist point of view, or any Chinese point of view would work in this, because you have elements involved. You have elements, fire, water. Now the moon represents water, or let's say the moon has an effect on water, a strong effect on water. And what is the planet made up of? Well, the planet has a good deal of water and is made up of a whole lot of water. And the people on the planet, the animals and the two-leggeds and the four-leggeds and all living life has a lot of water in their physical being, all right? So when you take into account that the moon can affect tides on the planet here, in other words, the moon has always been known and is known to govern the tidal flow in the ocean, where you have high tides and low tides and extremely low tides and extremely high tides. This is the moon affecting the water element on the planet, and so we are made up of the water element. 90-something% of our body is water. And then if you go to a metaphysical level and you start talking about, let's say, the heart is ohos, which has to do with water and emotion and that type of thing. So all of these things can be affected by this element or this planet of the moon. And so what's happening here? Well, the moon's coming in between the sun and the earth, and so with that, let's say, let's extrapolate on this a little and think about, well, what kind of an effect would sunlight have on the moon if it is in control of the water element? Would it heat the water element up? In other words, would it bring the temperature up on the water element? And if so, a heating up of effect. Because see, the moon is in effect blocking the sun, but it's also taking a hit from the sun. So in my mind, it could be heating the water element up, which would cause an effect on the planet and the bodily sensations and the heart and all kinds of things. There could be like a fire element involved indirectly. So you got the blocking of the sun, which would be a cooling element as far as the rays and, the radiant energy of the sun hitting the earth. That would be a cooling element. But also you have in my mind, you have a heating up of the moon, which on a metaphysical level or on just a water level could have some kind of effect on us all. And another consideration here that you may want to think about as far as all this is the different energies that could be affected with all this. Now, the other thing I want to touch on is when you have, let's say, a transition from yang, the sun, into yin, the moon, in other words, light to dark, and then dark to light again, this indicates, let's say, a shift, okay, from yang to yin and then yin to yang, okay. Yin is the feminine energy and yang is the masculine energy. Or, it applies to all kinds of things, hard and soft and receptive and aggressive and that type thing. So it's almost like on one level the moon is running interference with the masculine energy, or let's say the aggressive energy. is running some kind of interference here. It could be looked at that way. I'm putting all kinds of thoughts out there for you to just ponder on and think about, and come up with your own conclusions from your own higher self. But these are thoughts that are coming from my higher self. So when you have this yang to yin and yin to yang transition, it is exactly that. It is a transition. It indicates to me a transition, all right? And in any kind of transitional phase, a beginning and an ending, or an ending and beginning, there can be a bit of chaos, or there can be a bit of an energy shift, or there can be a large energy shift going on here. Now, does that mean that everybody should run around and freak out and think it's the end of the world, or it's a portent of catastrophe or whatever? Well, that's up to you. That's up to you. If you want to think that way, then I'm not going to stop you, because you're tending in that direction anyway. I will just say that it indicates a shift, okay, a transition from dark to light and light to dark, or light to dark and dark to light. That's what it appears to be to me, if you just want to look at the message of it. What's happening physically right before your very eyes. Just look at that. It's light to dark and dark to light. Now, transitions, again, like I said before, can be daunting sometimes. We go through them all the time, and with planetary changes we never even think about. Just the cosmos as a whole, or what's going on with different planetary influences and that type of thing. One thing that has been noticed, though, and I talked about this to my friend, was there seems to be a plethora, or an increase somehow, in eclipses of some type, a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse, this eclipse, that eclipse. I can't remember so many eclipses in my childhood. I can't remember experiencing a whole bunch of eclipses right in a row. I mean, we're talking months apart here. It seems rather out of the ordinary, but again, it could be a cycle that is just coming upon us now. And of course, with cycles, there's always, if you look in history in the past, with cycles, there always usually does some kind of change come about. I mean, hell, we've had cycles in the past on this planet that were devastating. And then we've had some that weren't so devastating. But always there was some kind of change afoot with this situation. So I'm basically looking at this as transitory change, and if you look at what's going on the planet, okay, as far as the events on the planet, I guess you have to enter that into the mix. I mean, what's happening on the planet right now? Well, we got just a shitload of wars going on, and upheaval, and chaotic events going on, wars, more wars, destabilization in different parts of the planet, in Europe and Eurasia, in the Middle East, with the situation becoming to the point of critical mass, all right? And I talk about critical mass sometimes because we've been there for quite some time now. I mean, any time that you are looking at events where people are repeating the word over and over and over again, nukes or nuke this or nuclear that, where weapons of mass destruction that could destroy the planet are just but a breath away. And then you couple that with it's a breath away from maybe some demented lunatic that is a leader of a nation. Then you have a situation here that you can compare to, like, okay, we got the eclipse going here, and we got transition, and we got change, energy change going about. Maybe that the sky is just telling us in general, look what's going on here. Look what's going on, because you're in a situation right now where you need to look at change, and you need to look at what that change might bring about, and you need to look at beginnings and endings, and you need to look at all the things that I'm talking about, yin and yang, dark and light. So the events in the solar system and in the cosmos as well, but just from what we can see from our vantage point, the solar system, events in the solar system are going to be like looking in a mirror for the planet or the people on the planet. It's like looking in a mirror. What do you see? What do you see? Well, what you see is what you're getting. You're getting transitory energy right now. Transition energy. Now, this transition has to be looked at as a good thing, in my opinion, because a doing away of the old and a rebirthing of the new is always a good thing. Okay, it may be painful on all kinds of levels, and maybe it has been, this change or this transition has been going on for quite some time, and this is just a sign of a culmination of it, or it could be a sign of everything has to end sooner or later as far as transition goes. They just don't last forever. It may take a while to go through the transition, but they don't last forever, and there's always, let's say, a silver lining or a breath of fresh air or relief, just like after a thunderstorm. The storm comes in, wreaks havoc. It's kind of fun in a way for me. But then when it leaves, it's clear and calm, okay? But then another storm will come in. But out of that storm and the rain that comes with that storm, there's growth. Like on the planet, all of a sudden, we just went through that here in the desert. Everything's green. Been getting a whole bunch of different kinds of weather and lots of rain that's unusual for this part of the geographical location here. But what comes after that? Well, what comes after that is greenery and growth. And so it's a beautiful thing. You may look out the window here and see, like, wow, it's all green now. We're normally the desert's barren and almost brown all the time. Not that it isn't beautiful in its own right, whatever condition it's in. So basically, this whole thing, this whole event is interesting. And now I might touch on this aspect too, the black sun aspect, all right? That sometimes riles people up because a lot of times they look at the black sun as being bad for some reason. I guess they associate it with different groups, okay, different types of, for lack of a better word, Illuminati, or the naughty Illuminati groups, or the different underground groups, or let's say brotherhood groups, or different organizations maybe in the past have use this symbol as some type of ritualistic practice or occult practice or whatever. I wouldn't put too much weight in that aspect of it. I wouldn't dwell on that aspect of it. I wouldn't dwell on, let's say, maybe a negative aspect like, oh, this is bad, or oh, this is evil, or oh, this is the black sun. I would dwell on it, or I would look at it more in the aspect of what I just talked about. Just considering all those things. We're not putting a label on change here, is what we're doing. We're not labeling it and saying, oh, that's, this change is bad. And change does look bad sometimes. Change can be painful, even in our everyday lives. Happens all the time. But that's just part of the chaos in this duality that we live in, all right? When you stand in awareness, when you stand, which is something I try to do, but isn't always that easy sometimes, just because of the intensity of events going on around you and even in your personal life. It isn't always easy to stand in awareness and look at it as, from a higher point of view, the duality, non-duality and duality, that type of thing. Standing in awareness, being the watcher instead of, or being the observer instead of getting all caught up in the drama of the whole situation. So anyway, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts. I don't think I've left anything out here. I'm sure that there's all kinds of interpretations. But I just see it as a transitory thing and a sign that what is already happening on the planet. I mean, you want to make something bad out of an event in the sky, all right? That's just a reflection of what is already happening on the earth. So it's not the event in the sky that's bad. It's just showing you a reflection or cyclical change of what's going on the planet. You can't deny that the stuff that's going on in the planet or on the planet right now, in the world and the consciousness, is absolutely off the charts. As far as darkness goes, as far as evil, as far as a debasement of morality and an uncaring for human life and an extreme cruelty on the part of those who rule others and what they're inflicting on others, okay? So that's what's happening here. It's a reflection, it's also a reflection of this transitory phase that we're going through, the darkness before the light. I hope and pray and meditate that the light is coming soon, because what we're in right now is a state of limbo. And it's, when I say limbo, it seems so slow, okay? The chaos and the events in the world and the pain and the upset hearts and minds of the people living on the planet because of the chaos that's surrounding it, surrounding them. A nice breath of fresh air or a nice enlightenment is overdue right now. It's overdue. It's almost to the point where it's unbearable for people here on the planet. And it does seem like things need to come to a head, because it's stagnant. The powers to be on the planet try to make things stagnant. and repetitious and dull, and actually it gets to the point of being boring. Okay? You got chaos and murder and mayhem and all that stuff around you, which is mind excitation. But to people like me that come in from a higher level, it's like being in a moving picture show that's boring. If you have the same events being repeated over and over and over again, and the same dialogue and the same narrative, it gets boring. It's time for a change. And so people like me look for change and go, when is it coming? You know, when is there going to be a relief? Because you know there is going to be. You just wonder how it's going to come and how painful it can be before the relief, or does it even have to be painful? If you're coming from a higher level of consciousness, then it ain't so painful, okay? It's more like entertaining, but still, entertainment can get boring as well. And I'm just coming from the heart here. I'm just speaking from the heart, as I always do. Everything I say might not be exactly spot on, but it's something that maybe you can relate to. It doesn't have to be on such a high level that you can't relate to it. And sometimes I do lose people. But anyway, I guess I'll leave it there. I don't want to carry this on too long. Seems like it takes hours to upload just a short video on YouTube now. So before I go, though, I want to make sure that I tell everybody to subscribe to the BitChute in the show notes below, the BitChute channel. Same name, Desert Shaman, all that stuff. I would like everybody that watches me here to go over there, because my videos are automatically uploaded there. I may do a video on here and 2 days later it's over there automatically, by the grace of BitChute, which offers that service. So I want you to go over there and subscribe there and see if I can't get a little bit more viewership going here without any kind of banning or shadow banning and that type of thing. And also, if you wish to donate, there's links down below, spiritofcrazyhorse.com and Patreon and whatever. I always appreciate anything that comes my way. So there's that too. And on that note, I guess I'll leave it there and enjoy your day. Have a good day. Namaste.